Welcome to European Railway issue number 77, the DVD magazine for the continental enthusiast. In this programme, we travel to the Italian-Swiss border to view the new line from Arcisate to Stabio. A trip to the Netherlands to sample traffic on the main route to the south of Dordrecht. Germany is our next visit as we take a look at the east bank of the River Rhine, between Linz-am-Rhein and Neuwied. Loco hauled operations are witnessed to the east of Paris. And finally, part 2 of our feature covering the Rhein from Landquart to Zamodan. We begin the programme from the Italian-Swiss border to the north and east of Varese on a newly modernised and constructed route linking Italy with the Gotthard mainline in Switzerland. The main towns served by the new line are seen on our map. We covered the sections displayed by our black line before finishing with a cab ride over the route through Stabio and on towards Mendrisio in Switzerland. Our filming locations are shown here on our map, as well as scenes on the branch line up to Porto Cerezio. Our first 3 sequences show the Bevera viaduct, before heading west to Varese and then onto the remaining single-track section north of Varese to Porto Cerezio. We begin in Italy as we see 2 SBB Cargo Italia Class 484 electric locos crossing the 439-metre bridge at Bevera. The locos, numbers 484019 and 005, were involved in GSMR testing between Mendrisio and Varese. On 16th of November 2017, whilst the line was still under the control of the construction company, number 524001 arrives at Varese with a test run. The line is largely double track, apart from the branch south of Porto Cerezio and a small section on the upgraded line just north of Varese. Here unit number 524001 is seen on another test run conducted during the week beginning the 16th of November 2017. Our next sections are at the Bavera Viaduct, and then slightly to the east, not far from Cantello Gaggiolo. This is the view of the Bavera Bridge once again, this time on the 18th of November 2017, when preliminary testing of the GSMR signalling system was carried out using SBB Class 843 diesel locomotives. Number 84308 is on the rear. We are now just inside Switzerland, at the point where the overhead voltage changes over, just west of Stabio. The neutral section is seen here between the luminous green signs. The nearest one shows 15 over A3, indicating a changeover from the Swiss 15 kV AC to the Italian 3000 volts DC system. The Class 524 units are equipped to run on both voltages, and an automatic button on the driver's control desk labelled FNM, meaning Ferrovia Mendrisio Varese, allows for automatic voltage and signalling changeovers. Here 524, 117 and 001 roll through with their pantographs down. The day after, on the 22nd of November 2017, unit number 524001 tests the FNM button as it passes through the changeover section with its pantograph up. Two days later, on the 24th of November, it was the turn of the Italian Infrastructure Department to operate its own test trains. Here we see 656576 and 565 top and tailing the formation. This is likely to be the only time that this type of locomotive will visit this part of the line, where, apart from certain types of diesels, the only electric locomotives allowed on the line are the Class SBB 484s. The dust is disturbed here at Cantello Gaggiolo, where construction work on the station was still ongoing. A little further east, and this is the junction at Bivio Bavera, as the duo slow for the line up to Porto Cerezio. Our next scene shows the test train north of the junction here at Bezuschio. This is going to be an exceedingly rare piece of track for an FS electric locomotive in the future. Our final scene shows the train on the approach to Porto Cerezio. There are 3 tracks in the station here. 2 are electrified along the length of the platform, whilst the third has no overhead installed and is likely to be used as a refuge for engineering trains working on the branch in the future.
macchinari sopra che vanno. È in fase di continua lettura, sai come funziona, no? Allora, niente, Bevera sì, Induno e Porto Ceresio. Intanto bisogna capire qua come sono gli enti che ci danno, che non ci danno, se sono quelli e quindi di conseguenza Federico ancora non ha messo mano, come non ha messo mano neanche
We return to the main line now and to 3 locations previously covered. This time, though, it is the turn of the Swiss, testing out the GSMR system on the 4th of January 2018. Locomotives involved are numbers 484, 019 and 005. When the line was first announced, politicians promised residents that the line would not be used for freight and would just see a half-hourly local passenger service, as well as a few long-distance intercity services linking Chiasso and Bellinzona with the French-speaking part of Switzerland via the BLS main line at Brieg. As mentioned, Class 484 are the only type given approval so far. Whether the no freight promise will ever be broken is anyone's guess. Here the locos approach the neutral section west of Stabio. Commercial passenger services began running on the 7th of January after an inauguration ceremony held on the 22nd of December. This section looks at the main stations along the route, as well as other locations seen on our maps. North of Varese, the line followed the route of the old branch to Porto Ceresio, which opened in 1894. Services were suspended in December 2009 to allow the new line to be constructed. The line was sunk into a man-made concrete cutting to eliminate the numerous road crossings on the old surface line, as well as to widen the trackbed for the additional track. Here 524001 once again is seen heading north towards Arcisate. As well as the half-hourly service through to Switzerland, there are the branch line services to Porto Ceresio. These are operated by Trenord Jazz electric units, such as the ones seen here. The branch line sees an hourly service between 0530 and 2030 each day, with trains to and from Milano. This is Arcisate station, again now built in the new cutting. 524018 heads a service for Albati Camerlata. Trains also operate north to Bellinzona, all to and from Varese. The trains along this track into Switzerland are operated by a joint venture, Tillo, using the beginnings of the Ticino and Lombardia provincial districts. The new line and the reopened track to Porto Ceresio are aimed at drastically reducing journey times on the congested and tortuous local road systems, giving huge time savings into Varese and onwards into Milano. The 4.5 kilometres of new line built on the old formation from Porto Ceresio to the junction at Bivio Bevera was the last section to be completed. As well as the main line, the branch up to Porto Ceresio has been completely rebuilt with new track, overhead and the elimination of several level crossings. Line speed is restricted to 60 km per hour due to the curvature of the track. (524.018) comes off the brand new alignment as the Porto Ceresio branch curves away off to the left. The Bavera Viaduct, seen in the background, is made up of 7 60-metre sections. Behind is the entrance to the 860-metre Bavera Tunnel, which comes out at Cantello Gaggiolo. 6 car 524117 approaches the camera. In our final section we have 2 scenes from around Cantello Gaggiolo before we join 484005 on a cab ride through Stabio and on towards Mendrisio. Emerging from the Bevera tunnel is 524117 on a service from Varese to Bellinzona. Just east of the station, the track emerges into daylight. This location is almost exactly on the border between the two countries. We are now aboard 484005 and we are approaching the new junction with the old through route from Italy, which was closed on July the 31st, 1966. It is seen coming in from the right. Today it continues as a short siding. The new route re-established the third direct rail link between Italy and Switzerland.
Lo so. La fregatura di conoscere più di una macchina.
Sai cosa la fregatura? Che qua non ti si accende neanche.
This is the station at Stabio.
Facciamo piantare anche al 75 se per lei va bene, per cambiare.
Grigio aperto. Grigio aperto 60.
As we pass under the bridge of the A2 motorway, the Chiasso to Bellinzona Gotthard route comes in from the right. It is just over a half kilometre to the station at Mendrisio, where we conclude this section.
Scambietto girato, ormai ho imparato anch'io, qua segnalino alto, si prosegue dritti, i settori non sono tuoi e vai.
Ma dove anda la tiro? Secondo me è apposta cercando di interoperare. Io ho una domandina, ti ho mandato il messaggio, una domandina.
No, non mi prende.
Il curriculum glielo mando.
Che guiderai deciso su lasciato il parking pronto per la mattina. Riusciamo a fare anche un binario di ricovero per la fare, sì, sai. Cominciamo a mettere giù secondo di vedrai che riusciamo a fare un binario di ricovero. Perché stiamo trombando là? No, non stiamo trombando, peccato. Che guiderai deciso su guiderai deciso su lasciato il parking pronto per la mattina. La prima coppia faticosamente è stata portata dentro. 11:40 Mendrisio, 35 minuti di percorrenza. Immagino che il giunto qua non lo vogliano. No. Siamo a treno, ragazzi. A partire alle 11 sono sempre 3 quarti d'ora di ricarico. Molto bene. Adesso partiamo.
In our next section we travel to the Netherlands as we sample traffic on the busy route to the south of Dordrecht, just before the line crosses one of the tributaries of the River Rhine. Our map shows the main locations visited, all fairly close together, taking advantage of some open countryside easily accessible to the public. Trains along this route can be viewed at Dordrecht main station itself or at Lagesvaluwe, situated just south of the river. We begin at our northern spot, just next to a quiet level crossing. Heading south towards the camera is Class 2900 Sprinter 3-car electric multiple unit number 2966 on a local service for Roosendaal. Four freight services per hour is typical of what you can see here. Many of these are local feeder trains out of Kaifuk Yard just to the north of Dordrecht. Number 6464 is seen heading south at 6:25 on the morning of the 11th of July 2017. Passenger trains were seen every 5 minutes or so there is plenty to keep you occupied, both from the observer's and photographer's point of view. Moving just over a kilometre south and we are almost at the southern limit of public access, again next to a convenient level crossing, giving ample warning of approaching trains. Number 2957 is the first to appear heading north with a service for Dordrecht. This is SBB Cargo's number 6440. Koblenz ICM3 unit number 4230 heads north. Whilst VIRM Regio Runner number 8663 heads in the opposite direction. It is fairly common for trains to pass each other here, such is the level of frequency. Typically you could see around 16 trains each hour. Here 6477 and 6432 head another southbound container train from nearby Rotterdam. Regular intercity trains ply their way between Amsterdam and Brussels using Class 186 electrics and hauled stock. This is the 0552 from Amsterdam, headed by number 2801, also known as 186125. Moving along the single-track road, we begin at the location shown at the south end of this map. All of our locations are no more than a few hundred metres apart. Heading towards the camera is NID Intercity Unit number 7536. Originally a Plan Y1 two-car Sprinter unit, an additional centre car was constructed and added to make this a three-car Plan Y2. Number 2966, seen here, was built in a batch between 1978 and 1980. Number 2861 is Class 186 number 183, seen here with the 0645 from Antwerpen to Amsterdam. Returning to the crossing at the south end of our locations, we see the 0745 from Brussels to Amsterdam, powered by 186-200. This is 7549. Finally, we see 2957 heading north with a service for Dordrecht. Germany is our next country as we sample traffic on the east bank of the Rhine River between Linz and Neuwied. Our map shows the main locations visited, beginning in the north at Linz. These are the locations seen in further detail. We begin on the morning of Friday the 28th of July 2017, as locomotions Class 193 electric number 193236 heads north with an intermodal working from Budapest to Rheinhausen. (425.093) and (425.102) head south past Linz signal box, with the 1140 from Mönchengladbach to Koblenz. On the opposite side of the tracks, preserved rolling stock owned by Eifelbahnwerke Gesellschaft is based here and used on the steeply graded line up to Kallenborn. Train DGS 41952 from Wels to Duisburg was running nearly 5 hours late when we filmed it here, with 1116192 in charge. (182, 514 and 506 head north with empty coal hoppers from Wemmertweiler to Moors. SNCB hired Class 186 number 2818 head south on loaded tanks from Antwerpen Noord to Passau. (143.661) departs the station with the 1318 from Koblenz to Köln. This is a busy stretch of line with anything up to 4 freight trains each way per hour. (798-752), built in 1960, stands outside the shed. This is 143925 heading for Koblenz. (185-364) is next to appear, heading train EZ 51754 from München to Gremberg Yard. This is preserved Kuf Class 332 small shunter number 901, previously an experimental prototype. Local passenger trains run every 30 minutes in each direction. This is the view from the south end of the station as 425108 and 095 head south with the 1240 from München-Gladbach to Koblenz. You don't have to wait long before the next freight turns up. In this instance, it is another mixed train from Gremberg, powered by 185-167. "500 metres or so to the south is a car park, which offers this view of the elevated section next to the main road. Heading south are units 425097 and 106. The River Rhine is right next to the car park here. RBH 151123 is in charge of empty coal train GM 60265 from Heilbronn to Oberhausen. (143-243) heads a train for Koblenz and passes ES 64F4 996. Slightly further to the south we see 151032 and 151006 on coal train GM 20673 from Oberhausen Yard to München Johanneskirchen. Our next spot is further south again at Bad Honingen, where we chose two locations, first to the south and then on the northern side of the station platforms. Approaching the camera is new Class 187 electric number 129 with 185155 dead in tow. The train is EZ 51847 from Mannheim to Gremberg. We now move slightly north to the station area as 185570 heads south with train DGS 43029 from Warne Eickel to Gallerate. Next to follow south is train EZ 51457 from Gremberg to Mannheim, hauled by 152044. The best days for freight along this line are Tuesdays to Saturdays. One 143-009 is the fourth oldest of the class still in traffic. Here it propels the 1710 departure for Koblenz. The Class 143s were seen once an hour in each direction. Our next location features two spots around the small town of Leutersdorf. The first is on the northern side of the town and shows 143243 heading north with the 1718 from Koblenz to Mönchengladbach. In the opposite direction comes units 425, 101 and 104 on a service for Koblenz. Our other location in the town is close to the station. Slowing for the station stop is 143661, powering the 1603 from Mönchengladbach to Koblenz. 185569 is loaned out to SBB Cargo, and here it heads train DGS 43742 from Novara to Köln. Our final scene in this section comes from Neuwied station, as this pair of Class 425 units head for the station stop, whilst forming the 1847 from Koblenz. The main rail routes along the Rhine Valley are always busy and offer a wide variety of motive power and train types. We will follow the line south from here in a future edition of European Railway. Our two Class 425 units will now depart north, bound for München-Gladbach, which they will reach in just over 2 hours. Locomotive haul trains in France are diminishing by the day, or so it seems. In this section we take a trip to the east of Paris, close to the town of Château-Thierry, on the old Strasbourg main line towards Épernay. The map shows our main filming locations. We began near Fuzhou and worked our way east towards Dormans. The date is Sunday the 30th of July 2017, and the reason for our filming was to catch the BB 15000 electrics that still ply the route on regional services to and from Paris. It is a freight, however, that kicks off proceedings, as ECR's Class 186, number 163 heads west towards Paris, with this intermodal service largely consisting of tank-tainers. "15020" is next to be seen with the 1001 service from Paris to Strasbourg. This is a weekend-only service and offers cut-price travel between the two cities. A little earlier in the opposite direction comes 15003, at the head of the 0737 Saint-Dizier to Paris. Number 15003 was introduced into traffic on the 15th of November 1971. Moving north about a kilometre, we are just north of Fuzhou, before heading slightly further east to the old station yard at Mézy, which is the junction with the largely disused branch down to Artange. Heading north we see 15012 with a service from Paris to Bar-le-Duc. Ten minutes later at 0950, number 27035 heads east with empty wagons from Verturi to Obernai. At Mezi, we get a fleeting shot of 15050, heading the 0933 from Bar-le-Duc to Paris. Our next location is just east of Passy-sur-Marne, and very close to the River Marne, which dominates the valley. 15021 heads east with the 1036 from Paris. We are now not far from Dormans, as 15012 powers west with the 1137 Bar-le-Duc to Paris. These locos have been the mainstay of the remaining passenger services along this line since the opening of the parallel TGV route from Paris back in 2007. On the nearby hills are vineyards that produce Champagne Giron Blanc, which has been in production since 1671. Heading west at just after 1 p.m. is VFLI's Euro 4000 diesel number E4049 on a trainload of chippings. This is the often photographed scene at Dormain, as the River Marne offers up an excellent backdrop. Leaving the station is 15012 on the 1537 service from Saint-Dizier. 8 of these locos are out based at Epernay to cover services along this line. Heading west, we are at another popular photographic location here at Rueil-Sauvigny, as 26218 heads a wagon load service bound for the marshalling yard at Wappy, just north of Metz. Finally, from this location we have 15020 on a Strasbourg to Paris turn. We return to Fussoir now, which is also the spot that in World War II a prisoner of war train carrying female prisoners bound for Auschwitz was derailed here by the French resistance. Heading towards Paris is a rather musical 186172. 15012 is the next loco to come into view, powering the 1836 from Paris. As can be seen, even for a Sunday, this line can offer up some interesting workings. At the moment, we believe the locos are still operating these services, but their replacement by new Coradia liners is planned by the Grand Est region once they have been bedded in on services to and from Belfort. Here we see 15021 on the 1837 Saint-Dizier to Paris TER service. We now travel back to Switzerland and part 2 of our feature on the Rhein Bahn from Landquart on the line out to Klosters and onwards to Zamadam. The map here shows our main filming locations. We begin in the north with our first section coming from Saz, before we then head east to locations around Klostersdorf. The date is the 24th of July 2017, and number 623 drops down the grade hauling the 1047 from St. Moritz to Landquart. Between 11 am and 4 pm, this line sees 3 passenger services each way per hour, so a train is never very far away, whichever location you are visiting. This is the valley of the river Landquart, which runs down towards the town of Landquart before emptying into the river Rhine. Number 620 is next to appear, tackling the 4.3% grades with the 1147 from Landquart to Davos. There are 2 eastbound trains every hour, which are just 3 minutes apart. This is number 631 with the 1150 from Landquart to Schuol-Tarasp. Two kilometres east is this view of Pagrug, as number 628 heads west with the 1141 from Schuol-Tarasp to Landquart. Three minutes later, and it is the turn of the 1202 from Davos. This train is powered in the centre by locomotive number 648. The first 3 coaches and the loco had previously worked a return working from Davos to Filisur, with the remaining coaches added prior to departing from Davos. Some interesting views can be had around Klostersdorf, where we see number 651, shortly after leaving the station, powering the 1247 from Landquart to Davorsplatz. From when number 619 passed the camera, we had 3 minutes in which to get to Klostersdorf station to witness the arrival of number 615 with the 1302 from Davorsplatz to Landquart. We now move to Zallians, which is on the eastern end of the 19-kilometre long Varese tunnel. The tunnel is used for 2 passenger services each way per hour and the frequent car shuttle services between here and Zelfranga near Klosters. The car shuttles are diagrammed for Class GE 443 locomotives dating from between 1994 and 1997. This shuttle has number 645 in charge. The route also sees the hourly services from Scuol to Rasp to Pontresina, This is the 1434 departure, powered at the rear by locomotive number 616. This is number 617 on the 1402 from Pontresina to Scuol-Tarasp. The other loco on car shuttle duties this day was number 646. This is the only time that the locos can be seen in daylight, as at the other end of the tunnel they remain under cover. Finally, we move south and to two locations just to the north of the resort of St. Moritz. We will begin at Zamudan before concluding at the junction town of Beaver. We begin with Allegra class ABE 812 unit number 3511 as it departs north with the 1602 service from St. Moritz to Chur. These units have taken over many services that were once the mainstay of locomotive hauled operations along this route. From the newest to one of the oldest, as this pair of 1947 vintage Class GE441 locomotives, number 610 and 603, arrive with a construction train from the new Albula Tunnel project. These locos have been kept on in traffic mainly to work trains associated with this project, which is due for completion in 2020. The Rheinische Bahn ordered another 27 new electric units from builder Stadler on June 30th, 2016. The contract includes an option for 20 more. The new units will enter service in the summer of 2019, replacing many of the current loco hold operations. Although essentially a follow-on from the Stadler units seen here, the new units will have a restyled front end. Zamadan is a busy freight centre, with services seen throughout the day, mainly Monday to Friday. Here, 1965 built Class GE66 number 705 is one of the railway's dedicated freight locos, although there are still 2 booked passenger turns for the class in 2018, the 0753 Ilans to Chur and the 0510 from Chur to Zamadan. TM22 tractor number 89, built in 1990 by Robert AB and Company Limited in Regensdorf, brings in a rake of wagons which will form train 5164, the 1824 from Zamadan to Landquart. From the northern end of the station, we see number 612 departing with the 1647 from St. Moritz to Landquart. Number 704 is next to arrive with freight train number 5151, the 1323 from Landquart. We now move north to Beaver, where we see Allegri unit number 3504 with train number 960, the 1512 from Tirano to Davos. This is the 1702 from Pontresina to School Trasp, with number 611 in charge. The locomotive is wearing an updated login.org advertising livery. Login.org specialises in recruiting and training staff for railway engineering and technical work for many railway organisations across Switzerland. Number 642 is next to appear, with the 1802 from St Moritz to Chur. With new multiple units on the horizon, 2018 is likely to be the last year of the current wide use of locomotive-operated passenger train formations. The fate of the current electric locomotive fleet is as yet undetermined, but widespread withdrawals are highly likely. Number 705 arrives with train number 5164 from Zamadan to Landquart. Sister Loco number 704 is in charge of train 5966, the 1833 from Zamadan to School Trasp. It awaits the arrival of the 1734 from School Trasp to Pontresina to clear the single line section. as number 704 disappears off into the distance. We would like to thank you for watching this edition of European Railway.